Hello again and welcome back to another Guess the Banzuke. I know I never score well in these damn things, but it's good to get a couple of extra opinions when you go ahead and guess your Banzuke. And this one should be pretty interesting to call because we have Shoryu still at Yokozuna. Onosato is technically Yokozuna, but he is Yokozuna Ozeki 1 East, and then we will have Kotozakura next to him as Ozeki 1 West. So I don't actually know if you'll be able to slot that in as Yokozuna Ozeki in the actual Guess the Banzuke entry form, but because there is only one proper Ozeki, one of the Yokozuna has to be a Yokozuna Ozeki. And I could actually bring up an example of that. I'm going to have to go back a couple of Banzuke. When the hell did Kakuryu retire? Let's see. That's still too soon. Let's see. Hakuho, Terunofuji, Hakuho, Sanoyama, Kakuryu. There he is. So a little bit before this, I do believe it was Kakuryu was Yokozuna Ozeki, or there were a couple of tournaments where, okay, so here, we have Takakeisho is Ozeki 1 East, and then we have two Yokozuna, Hakuho and Kakuryu. I could have sworn one of them was technically ranked Yokozuna Ozeki for this tournament. Let me double check here. This is the Haru 2020. Yes, so he was Yokozuna Ozeki. Okay, so what I was saying during the tournament is that Onosato will stay down here, but it looks like he'll actually be up here, but be Yokozuna Ozeki. That's what the YO means. March 2020, Kakuryu. A good result there, 12-3 Jun show. We also had a more recent one, I do believe, with Terunofuji. Let me see, because it was just Terunofuji and Takakeisho at one point, which was a little sad. So let me go and try to find that. Although that's going to be, yeah, there it is. Okay, so Hatsu 2023, Terunofuji still occupies Yokozuna, but is technically Yokozuna Ozeki, and then Takakeisho on the other side. Okay, so this is how the Banzuke is going to look. Shoryu up here, Onosato up here, Kotozakura over here, but Onosato will technically have the rank Yokozuna Ozeki West, I do believe. So that is pretty interesting. Again, the last time this happened was like 5 years ago, so I don't remember that tournament at all. I might have footage of it, but that this is going to be one interesting quirk at the very top of the Banzuke. As we continue, though, we have Daisho. He's going to be occupying Sekiwake, Kirishima, Sekiwake, and this is where another thing will get interesting. We're going to erase Maegashira 18, bump everything down, Sekiwake 2. Wakatakakage. Because of that 12-3 from Komusubi, and because the two Sekiwake above him are not moving, he will occupy Sekiwake 2 West. And after that, the rest of the Banzuke will go down like normal. I do believe he will be West, because I know they like to keep the Banzuke even on both sides. So let me just keep looking through some of these Banzuke. Okay, so he might actually be the east side. Because we could see here, Haru 2023, they had 3 Sekiwake. The top was even, an extra Sekiwake on the east side, and then an extra Maegashira 17 on the east side. So it's not, you know, even on both sides, which is what I was going to try to make my point, is the Sumo Association likes it when the Banzuke is even on both sides. So here we have 4 Sekiwake, 3 Komusubi, Shodai, and then the Maegashira 17. So it looks like he will be Sekiwake, well, and then you have here, we have Yokozuna 2 Ozeki, and then the Sekiwake 2 is on the west side. So 2023 was a very interesting year, it seems. There's probably the East Komusubi and the East Sekiwake in these tournaments because of the Yokozuna Ozeki, but because now we're going to have two Yokozuna and the Ozeki, there might be a different kind of quirk where Wakataka Kage will occupy that east side. I don't actually know how that's going to work. Let me go back to that 2020 Haru tournament again. And the rest of that Banzuke is even, so I don't know what they're gonna do here. Kotozakura will probably be the Ozeki East, Wakataka Kage will be the Sekiwake West, and that would even it out. I think that's what's going to happen here. We're splitting hairs for 1 point. We know that Wakataka Kage is going to be Sekiwake 2. It's just a matter of East or West, so we're splitting hairs over 1 point, but hey, that 1 point might matter when it comes to guessing the Banzuke. After that, it is who the hell is going to occupy Komusubi? Because the nearest winners we have are Oshoma, Maegashira 6, Haku Oho, Maegashira 7, Onokatsu, Kinbozan, both with 10 and 5s, but both of them are going to be leapfrogged by Aonishiki. So are we going to see Komusubi Aonishiki off the back of his 11 and 4? I think we just might. Let me query the Banzuke real quick here. Let's do Maegashira 9, 11, and 4. And it does make it to Komusubi sometimes. Aonishiki. And then it seems back in the 80s is the end 90s with Takano Fuji is the only time that record made it to Komusubi. Before that, Tochi Azuma, most recently Homa Show up to Maegashira 1. So this does not happen often at all, but I think it is guaranteed Oshoma Komusubi. And then Aonishiki has to leapfrog these other two 10 and 5s. And then this is where things will get tricky again. Do we keep Wakamoto Haru, Oho, and Abi all at the same spot and then maybe move Takayasu down right here because of his 6 and 9? They are usually kind to those guys with 6 and 9s. They could even put Takayasu on the left side of Abi or something like that, but usually they are pretty gentle to losing records at the very tippy top of the Banzuke. So we might see something like Oshoma and Aonishiki jumping up above these guys because they can't move up. They have 7 and 8s. They can't move up. They have losing records. Takayasu also has to move down. I could see him bumping Abi off to Maegashira 2 West. Again, that's splitting hairs. But the real interesting thing is going to be, does Onokatsu and Kinbozan displace any of these guys? 10 and 5 from Maegashira 8 does mathematically put them at Maegashira 3. Haku Oho would fall right below them, and then we could try to filter out all of these losers, or maybe even Haku Oho doesn't even go up that high. But this is, again, where things are going to get really interesting and weird. So let me just go down from these winners real quick and try to map out where these losers are going to be. So Gonoyama, a -7, might just fall to somewhere around Maegashira 7. I'll keep them off in the margins. Tamawashi is not going to fall that far. Hirada Umi is not going to fall that far. Takeru Fuji is not going to fall that far. Ichiyamamoto probably will fall pretty far. Does he stay below Gonoyama? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. Uda will fall pretty far. Chiyoshoma will fall even further. Tobizaru could stay at Maegashira 6, and it looks like it would work out that he could stay at Maegashira 6 looking at all these winners and losers. And, you know, it is something that happens often, but it's not something that happens all the time where gentlemen with 7 and 8 records do stay at the same rank. I like to think that in some of these scenarios where it just looks like it maths out perfectly, where everything fits and Tobizaru could stay at his own rank, or, you know, all these guys, Maegashira 1 and 2, can stay at their same ranks, then they will stay at their same ranks. So that's kind of why I'm keeping them there. Once we get more into the nitty gritty, I might scooch them around a little bit, but I like to keep them where they are. And then, let's see, I had Churana Umi, 4 and 11 is going to fall pretty far, probably not that down to like Maegashira 14. And then this is where we get to all those winners we just did. Let's keep going. I already did all these winners. Let's do Midori Fuji down a couple of ranks. I'm just gonna keep everyone in the margins again, like I said. Shodai is going to be below him. Shishi is probably going to occupy one of these bottom spots. Might even just sit above some of these Juryo promotions. Meisei and Endo are also going to move up from Maegashira 10. Just a couple of ranks. Atami Fuji is not going to move that far up, but he will be moving up. Same thing with Takanosho. I'm going to put these guys kind of next to each other, above all of the losers. Toki Hayate, above or below Ura, probably below. Sarano Umi is going to leapfrog a bunch of these guys. He's probably going to go above Atami Fuji, Takanosho, probably above Endo, maybe next to Meisei, like right here, perhaps. Koto Shoho is going to fall not too far. And Koto Shoho does have the cushion of the Juryo promotion, so he's probably only going to fall like one rank. Roga is going to move up a couple of ranks. Again, I'm keeping these guys like in the margins for now, but I'll slot and push everyone in a little bit. I might have to move myself out of the way in a second. Ryuden, I believe, is going to be a Juryo dropout. Same with Shonan no Umi. Kaio could realistically stay the same rank, might move down. Nishikigi, again, probably will get saved because Tama Shoho and Tochi Taikai performed so terribly, and there isn't realistically anyone that could replace him because we will be pushing up Mitake Umi, Kusano, Hide no Umi, and Wakai Kari. There's no one else that could replace him, so Nishikigi is probably going to occupy that final slot down there. Move down one rank from Maegashira 16, and this is where we could start pushing together these margins. First, let's actually scooch some of these guys up. Kusano, probably no higher than like right there. These Juryo guys, I'm just kind of throwing at the bottom of the Banzuke because they are not usually kind to these Juryo promotees. Like, we saw that, I believe, in the previous tournaments where, Roga, Juryo 3, 11, and 4, well, he did go up to Maegashira 14, so I guess they were pretty kind to him. But we do see more often than not, let's go back one more, Ryuden Juryo 3, 11, and 4, up to Maegashira 14, Shishi Juryo 4, 13, and 2 Yusho, up to Maegashira 13, Aonishiki was 2 ranks below. So with Kusano, maybe even pushing him up to like Maegashira 12. I'd have to query the Banzuke real quick. So rank Juryo 13, Juryo 1, 13, and 2. How far would someone like this go? Most recently, it was a Sanoyama up to Maegashira 14. So like he kind of got snubbed with that too. It seems like the maximum rank someone would go is Maegashira 14 lately. But even then, Shimano Umi back in 2019 May up to Maegashira 12. So Kusano, we'll see where he fits, and I think we're going to have to push some of these guys together first before we really determine how the cards are going to fall. So let's revisit near the top over here between Tobizaru and Haku Oho. So Haku Oho, I have him moving up to Maegashira 4 off the back of that 8 and 7 from Maegashira 7. Tamawashi, Hirado Umi, and Takeru Fuji are all going to kind of fall next to each other because they all have the same record. So I'm going to put Tamawashi, Maegashira, he'll fall rank and a half. Hirado Umi will fall a rank and a half. Takeru Fuji falls a rank and a half. And that looks like it works out because they're all still next to each other. I mean, sometimes they pretty often do separate each other if the math works out. There is kind of a traffic jam around Tobizaru here, so I might push him down a little bit. Someone like Meisei or Endo might stay or not stay put. I could see Gonoyama probably occupying this Maegashira 6 slot and Ichi Yamamoto being pushed down further. Let's actually query the Banzuke again. So Gonoyama was a Maegashira 2, 4, and 11. Again, they're usually kinder to these guys. Maegashira 5 is the highest. Maegashira 6, 7, lots of 8s, and it looks like 8 is the median. So Gonoyama could even fall to Maegashira 8. We could push up Meisei and Endo to Maegashira 6 and 7. And this is kind of where it begs the question, is the Banzuke committee going to be nice to the winners, or are they going to be nice to the losers? That is kind of where some of their own personal bias may come through. Like, if it were someone like Kirishima that got a 4 and 11 from Maegashira 2, they might keep him near the top because he's a former Ozeki. A lot of people like him. But someone like Gonoyama 4 and 11, he's not as popular. He's not as, electric. So they might drop him a little bit further, This is complete speculation. Don't take this as quote. This is not actually what I think goes on, but I'm just speculating here that they could punish Gonoyama for not being one of those fan favorite names. Like Takayasu, they're going to be kind to Takayasu because people like him. He's a former Ozeki. He's a very strong Rikshi. Plus, he was a Komusubi with a 6 and 9 record. So they're historically kind. They're historically nicer to those 6 and 9s. 4 and 11 is probably too harsh. And this is where, does Meisei and Endo slot up next to Tobizaru? Does Sadano Umi leapfrog Endo here? That's hard to say, because a 10 and 5 from 2.5 ranks lower, that is only one more win. I think Endo stays ahead of Sadano Umi. I think we'll do something like this, where Meisei is Maegashira 6, Tobizaru stays the same, Endo stays 1 rank below him because they were the same. They were 1 rank apart with the same record, so that tracks. Sadano Umi jumps up above the likes of Takanosho, Atami Fuji, and Roga, and Toki Hayate as well, because he had the 10 and 5. Roga will stay below him, obviously. Roga probably jumps above Toki Hayate and Atami Fuji as well, actually. But first, this is where we slot in Gonoyama, and I think Ichi Yamamoto too, because the 5 and 10 is 1 win better. Gonoyama will stay above Ichi Yamamoto, I do believe. It could coin flip which side of the Banzuke they're on, but again, that would be splitting hairs. We're not going to really do that. And then this is where we could put, I do think we could have Roga above Takanosho, maybe below Atami Fuji. Something like this. But then we have to fit Ura somewhere in here. Maegashira 5, 5, and 10. They might do something like this, where Ura is Maegashira 9, Atami Fuji, Takanosho, Toki Hayate. Like this. We might be a little too hard on the likes of Chiyoshoma and on the likes of Ura. So let me actually double check, where Ura might fall. Maegashira 5, 5, and 10. I like to use the Banzuke query to get an idea of what is most common. Of course, you will have outlier tournaments, but this seems to be a situation where, or I try to find, these situations where where they're most likely going to fall. You know what I mean? Of course, he's not only going to fall to Maegashira 6. That happened once in 1943. But it seems like Maegashira 9, Maegashira 10. Let's see. Ura could realistically fall down to Maegashira 12 or 13 even. But those are the outliers. The average, the median seems to be Maegashira 9 West, 10 East. And it just works out that Maegashira 9 East is where I have Ura going, so that looks like it tracks. Chiyoshoma, on the other hand, one worse on the record, was already lower than Ura, could get punished a little bit harder. Maegashira, we already saw Ura could even fall to Maegashira 10. Chiyoshoma, I assume, could fall even further, so might even be Maegashira 11, could even be Maegashira 12. Midori Fuji might stay above him, but that's hard to say because they're 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 ranks apart. 2 wins difference. Chiyoshoma could stay above Midori Fuji here. And then this is where Shodai and Shodai likely stays below. He will stay below Midori Fuji. Where will Churano Umi go? Will he go below Midori Fuji is the question. 4 and 11 from Maegashira 7. I think he does go below Midori Fuji. I don't know if he goes below Shodai too. So let's do something like this. Shodai. I'm missing someone. No, I'm not. No, am I? Am I missing someone? This always happens, doesn't it? I'm missing not Koto Shoho. Am I missing a winner? Am I missing a loser? It looks like I'm missing somebody, but let's scooch a couple of these guys up. Koto Shoho, Hide no Umi. That seems a little high for Hide no Umi, but it looks like let's just scooch everybody up one for the moment, except for like Nishikigi. Alright, so I have 4 Juryo dropouts: Ryuden, Shonan no Umi, Tamashoho, and Tochi Taikai. Koto Shoho stays up. Kyle stays right there. No, he's not going to move up to Maegashira 15. Asakoryu. I'm missing Asakoryu. Okay, so 10 and 5 from Maegashira 17. He might leapfrog Roga. I could see that. He could also realistically stay, but no, he's not going to leapfrog Roga. Never mind. He's going to stay below Toki Hayate, I believe. So it's a question of, does he leapfrog Chiyoshoma? Probably not. Churano Umi and Midori Fuji. An argument to be made there. Let's see. Rank Maegashira 17, 10 and 5. That does not happen too often, apparently. So the range, realistic range, dating back to 1955, Maegashira 8 to 13 is where this guy could fall. I want to put him below Chiyoshoma, but I think I want to put him above Midori Fuji. So let's like scooch. Yeah, so let's put him below Chiyoshoma and above Midori Fuji right here. Asakoryu. We can scooch Churano Umi down. Shodai. Yeah, 6 and 9. Churano Umi falls down next to Shodai. That tracks. Kusano. He's going to get snubbed like Asanoyama did. We already checked that. That tracks. Maegashira 14. Koto Shoho. He's not going to fall a half of a rank for a 6 and 9. They might be kind to Koto Shoho because he did come back from injury to get all of these wins, but then again they might not because they do count absences as a little bit more harsh. So I could see them. I don't think it's going to be Hide no Umi above that though. I think Wakai Kari might be above Hide no Umi. Kaio can stay in the same spot. Shishi 4 and 11 from Maegashira 11. That might be a little harsh, but let's double check that. Maegashira 11, 4 and 11. Let's see. Well, Matsuno Bori never got his rank apparently. But let's see. A couple Maegashira, yeah, let's open up the Maegashira 19 rank. But it looks like most of the time they will fall to Juryo. The thing is, Shishi is not going to fall to Juryo. He'll occupy the bottom slot, so likely in a situation like Otsukasa or Chiyomaru or Wakano Sato, where they're just cushioned by the fact that nobody can replace them. Tomokaze and Kotoeho too far away, and then outside of that, there really aren't any other outliers in Juryo. So Shishi and Nishikigi will be occupying those bottom 2 slots, I do believe. Mitakeumi, a winning record to leap over them. I don't think Mitakeumi is going to be ranked below these guys. The real question mark for me is Hide no Umi, because he has to be above Mitakeumi. But to go up to Maegashira 15 seems a little too high. So maybe I'm being... No, I'm not being too harsh on Shishi. Although it wouldn't be unprecedented to put him at Maegashira 15 and, you know, bump down, like Mitake Umi and Hide no Umi keep Kaio in the same spot, something like that. But this is where I am going to consult what other people might be thinking. So I was stupid and did not pull this up beforehand, so let me just double check what they are saying in the Nato Sumo Discord, which, to my knowledge, is still not opened up. I have said this before. When I get the go-ahead to open it up, or to let people know that it is opened up, I will let you all know. So I think they're still being just incredibly cautious. They don't want to, you know, mess anything up at the moment. So let me just pull up a couple of other people's guesses. There's one. I have to scroll pretty far back because usually a lot of people will do their guess the Banzukes immediately afterwards, and it looks like only one person guessed in this Discord. Weird. So let's check our homework against our buddy whose name I did not grab. I think it was like Murray Johnson Stan account or something. So let's check our homework against this person's guesses. So right now, Hoshoryu Onosato, Kotozakura, that's how it's going to fall. Daisho, Kirishima, he has Kirishima leapfrogging Daisho. I think that can happen. I don't remember. I've done this like 30 times now, and I don't remember if this is something that can happen. Let me actually double check previous Banzuke where one minor Sanyaku has a better record than the other. Excuse me for a minute while I go back, because there's always so much, what's the word, royal when it comes to, you know, moving up and down the Banzuke. Onosato was a Sekiwake, Abi, and then Onosato was still a rank below Abi as a Sekiwake. Okay, so that's all the confirmation I needed. I do believe Kirishima will stay below Daisho. It doesn't matter for the purposes of Ozeki promotion. It does not matter if you are Sekiwake 1 East, West, or Sekiwake 2 East or West. If you are a Sekiwake, you can become an Ozeki. So, Kirishima being Sekiwake 1 West, it's not going to disqualify him. He's still going to be on that Ozeki push. Wakataka Kage is going to be on that Ozeki push as well. And then he also has Oshoma Aonishiki, the only realistic guys that could be there. He has Wakamoto Haru staying. He has Takayasu bumping down Oho, which I don't disagree with. He has Onokatsu pushing down Oho, Abi as well. So where I have Oho and Abi staying, he has Takayasu and Onokatsu bumping them down. That is a completely realistic scenario that could 100% happen. I don't think it's going to happen, and I'm going to take that gamble. So then after Maegashira 3, which is where we even out again, we both say Kinbozan at 3 West. Tamawashi, Hirado Umi, Takeru Fuji. I have Haku Oho above them. I might be over promoting Haku Oho here. I do agree with this part of the Banzuke here. So I will copy his homework. I'll have Tamawashi, Hirado Umi, Takeru Fuji like this. They will all only fall 1 rank. Haku Oho will slot in neatly below them because he had an 8 and 7 from Maegashira 7. And again, like I said earlier, they are usually very kind to, you know, these guys in the Joy that have losing records against the Sanyaku men. So I believe this is a very fair part of the Banzuke. So after Maegashira 5, we have 6 Meisei. He has Endo bumping down Tobizaru. I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see. Gonoyama right next to that. I have Sadano Umi bumping Gonoyama down a little bit more. He does not have Sadano Umi doing that. I'm going to stick with what I got in this Maegashira 6 and 7. Let's see. I could see why he did that, though. That's the thing, is when you look at other people's guesses, like when you look at my guesses here as, annoyingly bad as they might be. I'm giving you my thought process, and in looking at other people's guesses, I am understanding their thought process as well. I'm just getting these extra opinions, basically, to see if it tracks with my own opinions. So I already see something at the bottom that I disagree with, but I can see why. But anyway, after Maegashira 7 and 8, he has Sarano Umi at 8 east. I have Gonoyama there. Then he has Ichi Yamamoto, so we track there. Then he has Uda, Chiyoshoma. I have Chiyoshoma being bumped way down. I might be punishing Chiyoshoma a little too much. That is a 2-rank difference. And I have him, like this group of winners here, the Roga, Atami Fuji, Takanosho, and even Toki Hayate. He has Toki Hayate below Asakoryu even. That could happen. I could see that, but I might be punishing Chiyoshoma here a little too much, and this is where, if our guesses deviate this much, this is where a lot of points are probably going to be lost in the middle of this Banzuke here. Roga, Atami Fuji, Takanosho, Toki Hayate, Chiyoshoma. He has Chiyoshoma, then Roga, Atami Fuji, Takanosho. He has Midori Fuji breaking it up as well. And then Asakoryu, Toki Hayate. So the reason I kind of don't like this is look at the Maegashira 13 East, 8 and 7 plus 0.5. Maegashira 12 West, 8 and 7 plus 1.5. That's kind of like a discrepancy that I don't like seeing, me personally at least. Again, I don't know the averages of this kind of thing, like the mathematics behind it, or, if the dude on the Banzuke committee has a tummy ache that day and he's particularly mad at Atami Fuji for some reason, so he doesn't promote him that high, like when I see math like this, when I see people next to each other, like I said earlier with Meisei and Endo, I want to keep them in that scenario. I know that they get broken up a lot of times. Like if they really wanted to, they could have Endo up next to Meisei and bump Tobizaru down. But when I see Meisei and Endo next to each other on the Banzuke with the same exact record, I want to bump them up in the same exact way together. That's why I'm keeping Atami Fuji, Takanosho, Toki Hayate together, because they're all right next to each other on the Banzuke, and I want to bump them all up as a group together, because that's what makes the most sense to me. Again, there are countless examples of this not coming through. There are also countless examples of 7 and 8s moving down where I have them staying in their spots. So, that kind of discrepancy comes through as well. And that's kind of the thing about, again, guessing the Banzuke, is you have to take so many gambles to try to guess it right. You can't really get into the mindset of the guys that do this officially, so you just have to try to do it the best on your own, or unless the person that consistently gets like top 10 gives you their thought process or gives you their spreadsheet on how the math all works out, then we're all going to be in the same boat. We're all going to be up a creek without a paddle just guessing. So that's my thought process. I like to keep these people together, and I don't like breaking them up, even though I know it happens. And even though I know it happens, I keep them together anyway, because I don't care. This is for fun. We're not winning any prizes with this. Let's see. So anyway, I have Asakoryu below Chiyoshoma, above Midori Fuji. He has Midori Fuji above Asakoryu and Toki Hayate, which again, I don't agree with Toki Hayate being disconnected from Takanosho and Atami Fuji. And then Maegashira 13, we don't even up there. Shodai Kusano. I have Churano Umi Shodai. He has Churano Umi at 14. I think that's punishing him a little too hard. I did reason earlier why I think Churano Umi will be above Shodai. And it's because, again, you see it a lot with the winners. Aonishiki being 11 and 4 is going to leapfrog over these two 10 and 5s. It makes sense. Same thing applies with the losers. Gonoyama is going to fall below Tamawashi, Takeru, Fuji, Hirado Umi because he has a 4 and 11. The question mark is, does he fall below Ichi Yamamoto? I don't think he does, because even though Ichi Yamamoto had one more win, they're a little bit too separated that Gonoyama would fall below him. Same thing kind of works out here, where Churano Umi, 4 and 11, 2 better wins for Midori Fuji, I could realistically see him falling below Midori Fuji, but I don't see him realistically falling below Shodai because they're 3 ranks apart. Shodai had 2 more wins. Just in my mind, I don't think he's going to fall below Shodai. Then he has Kusano at Maegashira 13, which I would like to see that too, but it just doesn't work out that way on my current Banzuke. And then Wakai Kari at Maegashira 14, we link back up again. Then he has Hideno Umi Mitake Umi. I have Koto Shoho only falling 1 rank. Again, it's so finicky at the bottom here because that could realistically be how that works. He also has Kaio shifting over 1, which, again, I like to keep the 7 and 8s where they are. And in this case, too, it works out. But again, because the bottom of the Banzuke is so high variance because of these Juryo promotions, Kaio could easily fall down. Like, I 100%, if I came up with this myself near the bottom of the Banzuke here, this Maegashira 14, 15, 16, like, I would be defending that too, easily, because it makes sense. You know, oh, Mitake Umi would be above the losers. He might get a little bit of favor for being a former Ozeki, you know? And Hideno Umi would leapfrog him. He is going to be above him. So I do agree with what this guy is doing here, but I also agree with what I'm doing here, where I don't think they're going to punish Koto Shoho that much. Again, they might, though, because of those absences. And even though it's not outright stated explicitly, they will punish you harder for having absences than if you have fighting losses. So it's one of those things where you could reason both ways, you know? I agree with what this guy is doing, but I came to my own conclusion, and I like my own conclusion better. And then, of course, the bottom of the Banzuke, he has Nishikigi falling off, and I don't. He has Koto Eiho with an 11 and 4 from Juryo 7 moving up, and I just don't think that's going to happen. As much as I would love to see that happen, I just don't think it's going to happen. Because Koto Eiho moving up, from Juryo 7 West to Maegashira 17 East, that's already like +8 on a 7 win differential. 11 and 4 minus, you know, you get 7 there. They're not usually that kind. I think he's going to get stumped up at Juryo 1. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think Koto Eiho is going to be in a Maegashira rank. I would love to see it happen, 100%, and I'm going to close this out and actually query the Banzuke. Juryo 7, 11, and 4. And it has happened in the 70s, 80s, and with Oho back in 2022, but I need to see that Banzuke. So Oho was Juryo 7, 11, and 4. There were 1, 2, 3 other guys that went up, and that is because Sanoyama out for injury, Kageyaki 5 and 10, Shohozan 4 and 11. Where's the other guy that went down? Did somebody retire? No. Where's the other guy that went down? Was it Kaisei? No, it would indicate Kaisei. Well, what am I missing here? Oh, okay, right. There were only 41 men up in the top because of the retirement of Hakuho. But he retired, I think it was something like that. No, he didn't retire after they made the Banzuke, because Hakuho won the tournament. He wanted to retire after that tournament. They said no, but then his stablemate got COVID, so he was forced to sit out, and then after the tournament, he retired. But I think, because there's only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 41. So there are only 41 men on the top division Banzuke when there are supposed to be 42. So I think what may have happened was Hakuho retired after the Banzuke came out, so they couldn't change it or something like that. I could probably go through my own Banzuke collection and see. Oh wait, no, this is before I started collecting Banzuke. Oh wait, no. The Kyushu Banzuke is the first one I collected. It's hanging on my wall. Give me a second. Yeah, no, there's just 41 men in the top division. I had to physically go over and count. Because I have the Banzuke on my wall. I don't remember why this happened. But that explains why Oho got the promotion. Where was that again? Oh, this is the Maegashira 11 one. Where was that again? 11 and 4 from Juryo 7. Yeah, there it is. So he occupied that spot because there was just an open spot in the top division. So that's what got him to that Maegashira 18 spot. Whereas in this situation, the top division is full. So there's no room for Koto Eho. Again, as much as I love Koto Eho, and as much as I would love to see him up there, I don't think it's going to happen. And it would be great, trust me. He's electric. I love watching him. But it's not going to happen. So I think these are going to be my final picks. Take a good look at them. And then take a good look at my name when it comes up in the bottom 10 results on the Guess the Banzuke, so you knew not to copy my homework. But I hope you guys come up with your own cool, creative, unique picks. I don't really have much else to say except that over on my variety channel, City Pop Summer is in full swing. And if you are listening to my City Pop covers over there, I greatly appreciate it. I will have, or near the end of this video when there's those little pop-ups that come up, there is the link to my variety channel, Leo Dickinson VT, if you want to go over and listen to some good City Pop songs. The July tournament is coming soon, and that will begin. Remember, for those of us in America, it is Saturday night, the 12th of July, and it will be going until the 27th, that last Sunday. And an easy way to remember when the tournament starts is the second Sunday of every month. That's something I learned within the past year, I believe. So we'll be seeing you guys again. There are a couple more videos that will be coming out of those all 15-day videos that I like to make. And then, of course, we'll be seeing you again in time for the Nagoya Basho in that new arena, the new IG arena. Dolphins Arena is no more, and I do believe they will have air conditioning in that new arena. So hopefully we see some more better, interesting performances. And, the Nagoya Basho is one of my favorites because there's just something different about it, Maybe it's because it's my birthday month. Say happy birthday to me on July 10th, and say happy birthday to Gideon on July 2nd. Or just wait until the tournament to wish us both happy birthday. But that'll be it from us. I'm doing that thing where I keep talking because I love hearing the sound of my own voice, even though the video is definitely over now. So we'll be catching you cats later. Have a good evening.